Alright, so now that you know how to declare and initialize a two-dimensional array, you want to know how to access each of its elements. So to understand how it is done with a two-dimensional array, we first need to recall how it was done with just one-dimensional array. So suppose you had a one-dimensional array that was defined as following: int arr of 3 elements, and each of them equals to, and the elements equal to 1, 2, 3. So in this case, you should access any of the 3 elements within this array by just using the indexing thing that we've learned. Simply, to access the first element of the array, we could just use arr at index 0. And to access the second element, we could use arr at index 1, and so on. We also do remember that a one-dimensional array can be considered as just a row of elements, and that a two-dimensional array can be considered as a grid of rows and columns, or just a bunch of rows. And if we said that a one-dimensional array can be considered as just one row, so when we access some elements with some element within this array, as we did previously, we specify just the column number of this one row. So just like you can see here on the screen with these little nice examples. So when we did arr at index 2, we told our computer to get the third element of this one-dimensional array, meaning the value at the third column of this array. Basically, as you probably guessed, when we want to access some element in the two-dimensional array, we need to specify also the exact row as well as the exact column that we want to access. And for example, let's say you had this following two-dimensional array. So its name is mat, and it has 2 rows, 3 columns, and it's basically filled in the standard way of initializing. And we can basically here see the representation of this two-dimensional array, and we can see that also we have the indexes for the rows and for the columns, and at row 0 and column 1, okay, or let's start it with row 0 and column 0. Here, let's use this little nice laser. Come here, okay? So you have here this little nice laser. So column 0 and row 0, and it gives you the value of 1. And also you can see, let's move on. Oh, where it is? Oh, okay. So mat at row 0 and column 0, its value is 1. So that's how we access this element in this array. And basically, that's the whole point of how you access any of the elements in this array. So mat at the index 0, 1, at row 0, first of all, you specify the row, and then you specify the column. So mat at row 0, index 1, row 0, index 1, that's how you go. The value is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, doesn't really matter. So basically you can like to access each of these elements and to do whatever you like with them. So now let's see a couple of examples of how it will look like in code. So and in the same way, it also can be done for any other of the elements. Okay, so at row 1 and column 2, you will simply go like row 1, column 2, change this value to 12. And there you go, you accessed the given element, modified its value, and it was changed to 12. And now, basically that you know how to access each element and to change it directly, you can use it also to your advantage and simply print the value to the screen. Basically, you can print any of the elements of this two-dimensional array using the printf function. So here it is. That's the changes that once you've executed each of these lines, the changes that were made inside of this two-dimensional array. And also, if you would like to access and to print the value, so first of all, you know how to access. There is no reason why you won't be able to print these values. If you can access them, you can change them, and you can print them. So this is it for this video, guys. I think we've covered everything regarding the basics in the last 2-3 videos. The basics of the two-dimensional arrays. It took us a little bit more than I was planning to, but I decided to go like, to go with you step by step, because for some reason a lot of students are struggling with this understanding of how to use the rows and the columns together. They know how to use for one-dimensional array, but they find it, like, I don't know why, they find it a little bit hard to work with two-dimensional arrays. So I decided to give it some extra time and to talk about more in depth about the declaration, about the initialization, and also about how to access and to print and to modify each of the two-dimensional arrays values. So thank you for listening, keep on practicing, and I'll see you in the next video as always. Have a nice day, guys. Goodbye.